we'll lead it off here with number 10. Rieger Lorenz with an electric photo for anyone watching on YouTube. What a great championship picture. I can't even.
That is amazing.
So good that I had to use it on both graphics here. Rieger Lorenz, Denver. Z, I remember us like in sync shitting our pants as he ripped that shot top corner from the top of the circles in front of us at the XL Energy Center. What a fucking unit. Who wants to lead off here? Let's see. Brett, you are the highest at 7.
Oh, wow. He's highest for me. Are you sure that's where I had him?
I'm going to check the sheet now, but I'm almost positive.
Yeah, that is. Okay.
This is good podcasting.
All right. Well, I had him higher than I thought I did, but
he's on writer's block right now. Okay, Z?
I'm okay with being high on him. I think you're looking at a guy who has gotten endless amount of praise from, as much as it pains me to say, arguably one of the best coaches in college hockey right now. Definitely in that conversation. When a coach like that is complimenting the way you're playing, you're doing a lot of good things. Denver's been a great program. We saw him, when the lights were shining, he stepped up. He was one of the guys that really carried DU to that championship this year. He's a guy, I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think we talked about last year as a guy that could easily shoot up our boards this year. And for me, he kind of just was that guy. Just, you saw all the right things out of him. You saw him play well in the big situations. And I'm really excited to kind of see what he can continue to do to build on that this upcoming season.
Yeah, I felt like in the past he's kind of been, for lack of better terms, our dark horse prospect. And we knew he could score from the AJHL, which is much different than the NCAA. But every year he's played for Denver, he's given a little more responsibility. You saw him improve dramatically last year from his first year. I felt like him and coincidentally Zeev Buium were the two best players in the national championship game for Denver. Just a fun player to watch, and I'd like to see what he can do with even more responsibility at Denver coming off that national championship.
Yeah, I think just like you just said, Justin, the fact that this year because I think maybe his freshman year, I remember reading that part of the problem was they had they had more guys who had signed in the NHL the next year and didn't necessarily get a huge opportunity, and the fact that took that and ran with it pretty well the whole year, and like I said, in the playoffs is a really good sign of kind of a guy who's really competitive and really determined, to keep working hard and improving in the next couple of years in college.
Yeah, I mean, I had the pleasure of seeing him live against Omaha for the conference championship or the division championship or whatever.
That's a game everyone has been talking about too.
And he was absolutely electric in that one.
Sorry.
God damn it.
Sorry.
But anyways, getting to see him live and seeing just like how actually just quick he is in person, how smart of a hockey player he is. And again, watching a player live too is just such a different experience. And he was an absolute unit in that game. And we just like you guys said, like we always knew that all the skill was there. His first year with Denver just didn't get as many minutes, wasn't leaned upon as much. This year was leaned upon a lot more, and it showed, right? And guys who put up like stupid numbers in the AJHL, like you have to take that with a grain of salt. But like if you look at like his last year with Okotoks, right, 85 points, 38 goals, obviously led the team. The guy who was like under him, I think at around like 60 points, like couldn't even like score in the BCHL, had to go back to the AJHL to actually put up points. Whereas like you see Rieger Lorenz go right into college hockey and play well enough in his first year where we all were like, okay, like there is something there, right? It wasn't just the AHL just touch or the AJHL touch. And then this year, absolutely dominated both in the playoffs and and during the regular season. So I absolutely love Rieger Lorenz. Like, yeah, Hoppy's and I both, or all three of us actually have him at 10. And he was such a big part of their championship this year and just such a joy to watch.
We talked about earlier, like how impressive it was when Jack Peart came into a St. Cloud team that historically has always had older guys. And like, despite the things I was saying about like some of the mistakes that kid was making at St. Cloud, like Rieger Lorenz came into a team his freshman year as an 18-year-old they were just coming off a national championship, and he's a kid that was playing in the AJ as one of the best players in that league, easily the best player on his team. And they pretty much asked him to play fourth line minutes, play defensive hockey, and obviously the point total suffered. Like, he also got hurt, and pretty much just like never really found his way as far as like getting like a full spot in that roster. He bounced back this year. Like, clearly the coaching staff told him, you need to make yourself a very well-rounded player and make yourself someone that we can't take out of the lineup and can't like put in our bottom six. And he played a role in all three zones for them. He also scored 3 or 4 shorthanded goals this season. So he's one of their PK guys. And I mean, like, went off in terms of like a bounce back year. He's more than versatile. Like, he can play all 3 forward positions. And I mean, we saw what he did in the Frozen Four there. I love this kid. There's a range of outcomes for him too. But when you look at the size, the mobility, he has an absolute cannon of a shot that even this year, despite like him popping off offensively, we didn't even see him really like showcase that at all. A lot of his goals came from like counterattacks. Again, like a couple shorthanded goals. And just like him being like a pain in the ass in the offensive zone, as far as him being like, got the forecheck and everything. So there was a whole level of development this year that like, I was confident that he'd have some kind of a bounce back year. I did not see this level of play coming from him on a national championship team. So I know that like after they won, there were some people like, oh, does he sign now? Like, no, let him go back and do it again at a Denver team that's going to be fucking nasty once again.
Yes.
But the profile of player, like the level of like the productivity and like his projection where like the skyrocketing of how well he's played, I have very high hopes for him. I think he's going to light it up again this year in college hockey. And I'll be curious to see what he looks like at the next level, because again, a guy that can play all 3 positions, he has historically. He's got the offensive upside, and he showed this year that he plays a really, really well-rounded game. So I love this kid. And also another guy, very easy guy to root for. Very goofy. Very entertaining. Big fan of the personality. So love Rieger Lorenz.